Vijay Ratna from Australia. He is the organizer from Australia. I think he is one of the persons I will remember for my lifetime. Because my daughter was desperate in finding a job in Australia. She had all the qualifications. I wrote to so many friends, but nobody thought of helping. But Vijay Ratna, he was obstetrician at Bundaberg. Moment I rang him, he only had a telephone interview with my daughter, and she was in Australia. And thanks to him, she has gone miles. Now she's an endocrinologist in Gold Coast, Australia. Thank you, Vijay. Sube also must be want to sideline. Plus, please come and light the lamp. Thank you very much.
Now it is 50 years since we entered the medical faculty. So that's quite a long time.
Well, next item is cutting the anniversary cake. And the closest birthday was, I'm happy to say, Manil's just on 5th of October. So, not having any other person who has the closest birthday, we will ask Manil and Sri Anand to come and cut the cake.
We have 5 candles here symbolizing 50 years. And I am thankful, I am very grateful for having been given the opportunity of cutting the cake. Actually, it is not myself, but this symbolizes the whole crowd. So on behalf of all the batchmates, I will now cut this cake.
That is Dr. Veera Singh, Alvera. He was active member of our organizing committee last year. He brought the Pedru party. He gave 50,000 in contribution. Not only that, he came to all our meetings from Kandy. And even this time, I'm very sad to say, our first inaugural meeting, he was to come from Kandy. So, we have got a team to talk about our beloved friends who has parted. I will ask Sube, Sam, and Nage to come and talk few words of our friends who have parted.
Good evening. The task of paying tribute to our departed colleagues has fallen on the shoulders of Dr. Nihal Samarsinghe, Dr. Nagendran and myself. What we have undertaken has been somewhat of a challenging task, and we hope what we have undertaken has been somewhat of a challenging task, and we hope that we have risen to that challenge and do justice to the memory of our departed colleagues. We have done our best to collect as much information as possible, but no doubt there will be huge gaps in their profiles, and we will be the first to acknowledge that. For this, we would like to apologize in advance. Now, some would say that life is one big party, but we all know that parties aren't really meant to last. Sadly, 11 of our colleagues have had to leave the party early. If we cast our minds back to 1966, we will remember that there were 154 of us who undertook this arduous trek through medical school. Considering that medical careers can potentially span 50 or 60 years, we were in 1966, mere fledglings of 17, 18, 19, perhaps 20, embarking on this long voyage, although admittedly few of us were slightly more mature. When we walked through those hallowed portals of the Colombo Medical College, our families, as well as all of us, had hope. Hope that our dreams would morph into reality. That this hope, combined with due diligence and a slice of good fortune, would result in a sense of great accomplishment as well as relief to have the letters MBBS after our names. We had strategically placed hurdles at the second MB, third MB, before the final MB hurdle. Some fell at the first, some at the second, and some the final hurdle. But they all picked themselves up, dusted themselves down, and they started all over again to reach their goal. Hiran Vikramasuriya was the first to leave us shortly after clearing the first hurdle, and K. Jnana Bhaskaran likewise left us whilst on the cusp of becoming a doctor. The grim reaper's icy cold hands so dexterously snatched away these young lives, which left us greatly diminished. And even today, as at that time, these tragic events created a void and a deep resonance. To pay a tribute to Hiran Vikramasuriya and K. Jnana Bhaskaran, over to Dr. Nihal Samarsi.
Sadly, some of us are not here, as Subhi has already mentioned. The first one to leave us, long before he had fulfilled his dream of obtaining the 4 letters after his name, was Hiran Vikramasuriya. Hiran Vikramasuriya was my neighbor. We lived in Hill Street, Dehiwala, not more than 200 yards apart from each other. He was an old boy of Ananda College and was a thoroughly decent, principled young man, and the only son of his parents. He had a younger sister, Indira. We travelled together in the school bus in those old early days from Dehiwala. And after the second MB, he acquired a moped or a scooter, as we used to call them. Shortly after the second MB, Hiran's scooter was involved in a collision at Dehiwala, God Road, Dehiwala, when he suffered serious head injuries. Mind you, these were the days before wearing helmets was mandatory. After a brief period in the neurosurgical unit in Colombo General Hospital, Hiran succumbed to his injuries, and it was a great tragedy not only for his family but for all his friends and colleagues. That was the first one to leave us before our dreams were fulfilled. In January 1970, just 18 months before qualifying as a young doctor, we lost the second of our erstwhile colleagues in similar circumstances following a motorcycle accident. Kanagaraja Jnana Bhaskaran hailed from Velvetithurai and had his education at Chidambara College and Hartley College in Jaffna. His sad and untimely death left a huge void in the lives of his 7 siblings and parents, from which I'm certain they never fully recovered. He was only 22.
As we celebrate entering medical college, I'm sure tonight we're going to be listening to a lot of memories, anecdotes. You all started on the same journey together. and the same experiences at the early stages which experienced with others too who are not here. They were exciting times, meeting new friends, learning a new profession. I remember going into the medical, the physiology lecture room, 154 students. That was kind of intimidating. And then we had walked into the anatomy lab with dead bodies stacked up on cold cement slabs. Then we had the pageantry of block night, law medical, colors night. But these were also stressful times because before we could get to the fun part, we had to go through the rack without the seniors catching. You know, they were hovering around like captives. So I tried to take one of the side roads, and they knew every side road out of medical school. So I got nabbed, and off we went to greenhouse with some of my other colleagues. So you got a 2-hour ride, jumping up and down, you know, getting insulted verbally. And after about 2 hours, they let us take a shower. So as I walked into the shower, I saw a big guy coming out. Dripping wet, slightly older looking, already has started getting a little bit of baldness, and hairy from neck down to the feet. So the senior said, bunch this guy. For those who don't know bunch, that was a cordial way of grabbing the other person's nuts. So I thought he was a senior, so I was not going to bunch him. So they kept egging me on, and finally I did a soft bunch. So the guy said, that's not the way to bunch, and they grabbed him and almost ripped him up. That first encounter, our intimate encounter, was with Michael Krelshon. The same rag, I was there with Raghunathan, R. Raghunathan. If you can remember, he was a small, slim guy, always with a smile on his face. He came from Kites and then entered medical school through Aquinas. And he stayed with somebody who was better known than him, was the son of the who rode a motorbike. So he would probably, you know, most times would come with San Mollingham in the motorbike. He worked in Kilmachi for a little while and then moved to Era in the Battle district. And he passed away there during the turbulent times that we had here in Sri Lanka. So we'll always remember him for his smile, the mischievous look, and the letters. He was always pulling pranks on us. He used to send letters to some of us with no stamps. So that was our Raghunath. Nimal Homer Manyasi, we used to call him Homer. He studied at St. Patrick's. If you remember him, he was a dark, thin person. Interned at Anuradhapura. When he was in medical school, he stayed at the Bangladesh Flats and later came to practice in Cotahuena. So we will always remember Rania Singh for the quiet, soft nature and a very unassuming personality.
Vigneswaran was an alumnus of Jaffna College, and he was a quiet, soft-spoken member of the Bloemfontein Brigade. And as far as my recollection goes, he was quite a studious person, securing a second class at the final MBA exam. I am still reminded of his husky, gravelly voice, which our revered teacher, Dr. Niles, couldn't quite fathom, prompting Dr. Niles to ask Vigneswaran, "Have you got a permanent sore throat, man?" Vigneswaran did not retort. He took it on his chin and let it pass. Such was his composure. He was boarded at the Jivaka hostel, and those close to him vouched for the fact that he never got angry or lost his temper, despite the many provocations and name-calling, a testament to his passive character. Having trained in anesthesia and serving in various government hospitals, he went over to the Middle East for a period of time, and upon his return to Sri Lanka, he took up a post as the medical officer at the Steel Corporation in Authority. A quiet and a soft-spoken individual, Sarath got on his life quietly and purposefully without much fanfare.
In those early days, all of you will remember, we sat in the lecture theatres according to alphabetical name order. And that was for the ease of checking the attendance, because we had to have 80% or 75% or 80% attendance to be signed up for the exams. Now, our next departee, good friend, Markovitake Ranjit Pereira Samarasinghe or M.R. Samarasinghe sat on my left-hand side, while Mrs. Ranasinghe sat on my right-hand side. We were all Samarasinghes, there were 4 Samarasinghes, and as a result, I was called Sudusam, not because I was particularly fair, but there was one darker than me who was called Kalusam, who's unfortunately not here today, but is well alive and kicking in America.
LIPPIDs, lipids. This was the first time I heard the word lipid. We had heard about fats and esters and alcohols and acids, but never heard about lipids. So I wrote LIPPIDs. And Ranjit, who I was called Sam, who had already written LIPIDs on the top of his page, looked across to me and quick glance, and then that both was passed biochemistry at our first attempt, whereas a lot more capable people failed. Rabindranath Harsharatna Surya, another member of my clinical group, and was seated 2 seats away from me. I don't know why I attract all this bad luck. My nearest neighbor in Dehiwala died first, and the people who were closest to me who sat for lectures are no longer here. He also shared lodging with me as a student for some time. He was a product of St. Thomas's College, Mount Rainier, where he excelled in sports in general and rugby and water polo. Mother Vajra, also an academic, was the warden of Sangamita Hall in Peradeniya campus. Asha married in September 1977.
And if you had hair coming out of the ears, come here, push. And if you had too much hair and you're trimming it, cut. And then Bloemfontein died, and many of the people who have died here are, went to Bloemfontein. They have their own vocabulary, completely different language. Neox is nothing to report. Cossack means it's a useless guy. What is what are you doing? And then if you are bad company, they call it malignant circle. So Vijayaratnam too had a nickname. His was Alaman. And the Blom guys used to call it Alans. Kind of many little western. He was tall, dark, thin, always walked with a stiff ramrod spine, and he's going to swing his hands.
The second concerns Veera when he was queuing up for his breakfast at a hospital canteen in the UK. He asked the lady serving him for a bullseye. Now this lady was taken aback at this dark-skinned foreigner's request for a weird food item, which she probably thought was a delicacy in the darkest and deepest parts of Africa. "We don't serve bullseyes here, love," the lady had said. Veera was adamant. Unable to suppress her curiosity as well as her amusement, she had asked Alvira to elaborate. Veera promptly pointed to the person who was ahead of him in the queue, who had just been served a fried egg.
Thank you.
She has produced a nice CD with easy listening music, and I'm sure they will be displayed on the desk very soon, and is available for rupees 500 each, and she's going to donate it for charity. So we have to salute the people who think out of the box. He always was thinking lateral, and he has patented a device which we show in the morning about suture removal. Give a big hand to Andhra. We are glad that he. There's a nice book with, I don't think many of you all have seen this. This book is written in Sinhala by one of our eminent pediatricians, respected in the country. I think most of the politicians and their families go to him to advise, take advice regarding their children. This is called Didulana Lama Lavakada, Paripurna Lama Roga, Visesaka Upadesh, and this is in Sinhala. I think that's a great achievement. I don't know how he found time to do all this with his busy practice. Give a big hand to D.N. Karnataka.
There is a complimentary offer which was obtained through the efforts of my wife Manori, and these are complimentary gift cards for the use at the Share Unisex Salon.
Now, you may have to bear with me. I do not take one bit of responsibility for the contents of what I am going to say. The memories may have faded and may have got amalgamated. I think Lokunage referred to a few incidents. This was things that happened on that most impressionable of days, the registration day. Anyway, come the afternoon, Ken and I are summoned before the proctor, Dr. Kodagoda, who fills us, and we naturally pleaded ignorance of any such event. And then he offered to examine our fingers. That's the point where Kenyana's black rimmed fingers were uncovered, and he imposed a fine of 25 rupees for this bad behavior. And that was the earliest, my recollection of crowdfunding of these 25, all 10 rupee, 10 cents and 25 cents coins. We paid the fine of that afternoon. Now, one such story was that there was this very accommodating lady who lived in the second room in the upstairs of the Peking Hotel on the Lipton Circus. Here was a discussion going on with quite a few people listening in, that if you tap on that second door with a particular code, that you will be greeted and well entertained by one of these ladies. So one of us amongst us, he's not here today, who spruced himself up and went after she had said, and knocked the particular code, knocked it once, knocked it twice,